what type of mindset should the man have if he's even considering getting married or even starting a family, like having kids? You know, what type of mindset should you have for that?
Okay, first, I always tell the guy that most of the time we normally tell the young ladies, and this not excluding the young ladies, but I want to emphasize to the men, if there is someone that you're pursuing, if there's someone that you have your eyes on, the first thing you have to remember, do things godly. You always want to make sure that you have God's approval. You know, whenever you do things God's way, you not only get his approval, but you get his warranty package too. So for the man, we have to make sure that we keep sex out of the equation.
Ooh, that's definitely a tough one. That's definitely a tough one right there, guys. I know that's definitely a tough thing.
You know, I have to say that because what happened, whenever we involve sex into the equation when you're not married. Now, when you're married, hey, look here, have at it. You know,
you waited long enough.
Right. You give due benevolence, but even with that, make sure that you don't just look at, okay, well, she just, you know, she's a good sex partner. Okay, it's more to it.
It gets deeper than that.
Yes. Yeah. So for us as the men, we have to leave sex to the equation because what happens, sex end up clouding our judgment. And a lot of times when we end up allowing sex into the equation, what happened, it end up, instead of us making spiritual decisions, we end up making emotional decisions, like I mentioned earlier. Now, with those emotional decisions, what happened with those emotional decisions, it make you step outside of your purpose and your character. It make you make decisions that are not long-term, but short-term gratification.
So you're just thinking for the moment.
Yes, short-term gratification, because whenever God has an assignment for you, there's always long-term. It's just like right now. Have you ever gotten ready to go somewhere and you get this eerie feeling that, man, something ain't right? You know, I don't feel, you know, I'm going to do it anyway. And as soon as you get over there or as soon as you do it, it was exactly the same way you felt before you physically made it there. Well, God was letting us know, number one, we're more than just physical beings, we're spirit beings. And a lot of times before we physically, with our senses, get involved in something, sometimes God will forewarn us in the spiritual realm before we make it in the physical realm. And so with that, the same principle applies to choosing a spouse, because a lot of times God may be showing us the red flags within our spirit, but our emotions are telling us to go with those green flags.
So you tend to ignore all those.
Yes, tend to ignore, and it's just like, hey, somewhere down the road, you may end up losing your job. Somewhere down the road, you may end up getting hurt. And because she was so used to this physical specimen where she would just depend upon sex, just like you would depend upon sex. Now, when conflict comes, now you have someone that used to sex you down when you were healthy. Now she won't even give you a glass of water when you're sick. She used to sex you down when you're healthy, but now, you know, you're sick and she abandons you. You lose your job, she abandons you. The movie I often think about, I'm not really a movie person, but the movie I often think about is the movie John Q with Denzel Washington. Yes.
Where his boy gets sick.
Yes. The bad part was not just, well, the worst part to me was not just when the boy got sick, but when his wife abandoned him.
That's tough.
Not just physically, but emotionally. But if you blah, 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 that's when he snapped. And we all have a breaking point. But in that breaking point, you want to make sure that you choose someone that won't test the waters. When you're at that point.
So they know, okay, hey, he's already had his limits. He's already got a lot thrown at him. Let me go ahead and, instead of tearing him down more, let me help building him up. That's the partner you need to try and find.
Yes. That's the kind that you need. But also on the same token, for the young ladies, for you to acknowledge, you know what? I may not be there. And for her to be mature enough to accept it, acknowledge it, and let him know, but even if she tell him it's his choice, and vice versa. She might be the type that's not like John Q's mother. She might be the go-to young lady, stand by her man, all that stuff. But you could be a stand by your man chick for a dude that don't even, like Dr. Martin Luther King said, he had a dream. Some people don't even have a plan. You know, a lot of time we're so used to having people to be our spokesperson or whatever, but God wants us to be able to look at something that really tugs on your heart. You do your homework pertaining to the thing that you're frustrated about, that you're tired of. You do your homework on that. A lot of times, what you're tired of and what you went through, that's actually part of your assignment, part of your purpose. Because just like Prince was, you know, basketball player. Yeah, Prince loved instruments and all that stuff, you know. But even though he loved basketball, but he's, if you want to say, known to be a musician, known to be a prolific writer, a musician, all these things, photographer, all these other things. But when you look at it, what you get tired of, also the way you want to express yourself. Those are the things, the key things that we'll look at that will help us to understand our purpose, help us to be able to look at and understand who we are. Because a lot of times when we sit back and start doing a self-evaluation of not only what we love, but being realistic. Some people, they love to sing, but they can't sing. That's not their niche. Yeah. But you look at what you look forward to doing, even if you don't get paid. My uncle said this years ago, and it struck me. My uncle is he's Logan Photography. He's the owner and the photographer of Logan Photography, Aaron Logan. He said this to my little brother and I. He said he looked forward to waking up every morning. He don't need no alarm clock. He got a job that he loved doing what he likes to do. He loves doing what he does. It's not a job for him. But also, thank you for saying it, because this is what caught my attention. First of all, when we look at Adam, God did not give Adam a job. God gave Adam work. And so when we look at work, the word work in its original language means source from God, source or energy from God. So whatever purpose and plan God has for us is something that he has already embedded in us. And it gives you life.